Worcester. The first time was to speak with a local university. Today we're in competition with the good Lord himself. He's provided outstanding weather, which I think has tempted many people to remain outside. But you know, that's one of the issues that we, as an activist community, need to contend with. I'll address that in detail, but let's mention it right up front. Why is it in this time of conflict that is literally ripping the social fabric of this country apart, when you have an individual of either national notoriety or national infamy or whatever you want to call it, but somebody who has national status and stature on this topic addressing this, that you can't fill the pews? Why is it we can't, as a community, get more curiosity from our fellow citizens about a very important topic? And it's not one that they're not familiar with. I mean, we only have to look at the headlines of the newspapers today, or yesterday, or the day before, or the day before that. There hasn't been hardly a day gone by in the last 4 years where the issue of Iraq or war has not dominated the news cycle. And so we can't say, well, this is something that the majority of the American people are ignorant about. What we can say is perhaps the majority of our fellow citizens choose to shield themselves from delving into topics that either make them uncomfortable or topics they feel ill-prepared to deal with on a meaningful level. Not just dealing with it in terms of the initial engagement, but one of the biggest difficulties we as a community face is, okay, let's say we're going to wrestle with this demon. We're going to take the Iraq war on. Then what? What do we do? How do we do it? To what end are we struggling? What is victory? How do we achieve it? And if you don't have these answers, there will be a hesitancy on the part of people to initiate the struggle, to jump in. If we honestly reflect on who and what we are as a community, and I don't mean the community of people here today. This is literally preaching to the choir. I'm talking about the community that's out in Worcester, the community that's in Boston, the community that populates the state of Massachusetts, the community that populates the state of New York, the community that populates the United States of America. What motivates them? And I would put forth as a topic of debate, a point of departure, that the notion of citizenship is not an overriding factor. I would submit to you that the vast majority of people that populate the United States, who call themselves one of the 300 million citizens of this great country, do not wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, how can I be a better citizen? What am I going to do for my country today? How am I going to help my country? The sad fact is the majority of Americans today look in the mirror and say, what does the day going to offer me? What can I take from the day? What can I take from my country? I'm a consumer. And that's the biggest challenge we face, is the conflict between citizenship and consumerism. Now, we live in a capitalistic society, and I don't want to be hypocritical and pretend that I too don't enjoy the fruits of modern American society. I do. As the father of twin 14-year-old daughters, they ensure that I am focused on enjoying the fruits of modern American society. Okay, we seek out the most stylish clothes because they can't go to school wearing something that's not cool. No matter how much we try to convince them that plain brand jeans are just as good, sometimes better than name brand jeans, peer pressure wins out. So it's a constant struggle to impress on people that there is a requirement A requirement, and I mean that, it's not optional. There is a requirement for us as American citizens to wake up every morning and strip ourselves free of the cocoon of consumerism that wraps itself around us continuously. And it is continuously. From the moment you get up in the morning to the moment you go to bed at night, you are continuously bombarded with the reality of a consumer-driven society. Our president himself, George W. Bush, in the aftermath of the September 11th attack, came up with the ultimate ode to consumerism when he said, what you can do to help your country in the aftermath of this horrific attack is go to the mall and shop. Go to the mall and shop. As if that's what defines citizenship. So it's a problem that we face. How do we motivate people to become good citizens? Then we have a second problem. Let's say people say, we want to be good citizens. I want to help. Help do what? In this case, help resolve a horrific mistake our nation has made in Iraq. The illegal invasion, and this is not a debate, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you support this war, recognize that it is an illegal war. We went to war in violation of international law. And in doing so, because we violated the Charter of the United Nations, how many Americans understand that we went to war in violation of the Constitution of the United States of America itself? Article 6 of the Constitution clearly states when we have signed or entered into an international agreement that's been ratified by 2/3 of the United States Senate, that is the supreme law of the land. We have signed the United Nations Charter. We are beholden to the United Nations Charter, and we went to war in violation of the United Nations Charter, which means we went to war in violation of the Constitution that defines who we are and what we are as a nation. But why am I quoting the Constitution? How dare I affront you this way? After all, you are American citizens. Certainly you're familiar with the Constitution. Certainly you're familiar with the one document that says this is who we are. There's nothing else. When you say, I am an American, what are you saying? You're saying, I am somebody who lives in a nation that is governed by a framework of laws founded in a single document. There's nothing else out there that says this is America. It's only the Constitution. That's why when you join the military, you take an oath to uphold and defend that Constitution against all enemies. This is an important one, foreign and domestic. And domestic. It's the same oath that our elected officials take. But how many people, when they take that oath to defend the Constitution, are required to take a test on the Constitution? Okay, you're now going to defend the Constitution. Here's the test on the document you are now going to defend. Do you know anything about this document? And sadly, the answer is no. No. How can we defend that which we don't know? People who know the Constitution, the rule of law set forth by the Constitution, are extremely disturbed when they hear about warrantless wiretapping, which is a direct assault on the Fourth Amendment. You know, the protection against illegal searches and seizures. But if you don't know that that exists, how do you know your rights are being trampled on? How can you defend that which you don't know? I've spoken for high school students